It felt like a dream come true when we learned about the $300 million inheritance and the fact that we'd be running our own company. Everyone at work noticed my sister-in-law Mary cheering about my dad's inheritance, and they started whispering to each other. Mary was really happy, saying proudly, "Shit, this is when my husband gets the company and $3 million. One of the employees burst into laughter when he heard that. My older brother, sitting next to his confused wife, was reading the will from the lawyer. His face went pale as he read it, and he showed it to her. She screamed when she saw it. "My name's Lucy. I'm 29, and I work for my dad's business. When my dad was young, he started this business from scratch. Now it's grown quite big with lots of employees. But when he started, he had to deal with a lot of debt, and even as a kid, I knew it was tough for him. Even as the business grew, I wanted to help out my mom, who mostly did office work. My parents told me to go to college and choose any career, but I always wanted to work for Dad's company. That was my goal after high school. Bob, who's been working here for a long time, was the first one to show me the ropes when I joined Dad's company. He taught me all about business without treating me differently just because I'm the boss's daughter. Thanks to Bob, I got to learn a lot about how the company runs. On the flip side, my brother Tom, who's just 2 years older, went to college to study management. Since he was young, he proudly told his college buddies that his dad owned a business and that he'd one day take it over. Tom's friends would ask him, "What's your plan after college, Tom? Are you going to look for a job?" Tom would confidently reply, "I won't need to find a job because I'll be working for my dad's company. I'll become the president eventually, so I'm taking my time to learn management until then." One of Tom's friends said, "So you're going to be the next president of the company? Your future sounds safe and secure. I envy you. Tom, you also have a younger sister. Won't there be a competition over who gets to take over the business?" "You mean my younger sister Lucy?" "Nah, she's just finished high school and isn't into all this business stuff." "You say that a lot." "She seems to be involved in some behind-the-scenes work for the company. If I become president, I'll keep her around as long as she follows my lead." Meanwhile, my brother was spending money recklessly and goofing off, pretending it was all part of gaining business experience. He knew that if he acted the part, his friends would admire him. There were plenty of women eager to date him because he was slated to be the next president of the company. My brother chose the most flashy and attractive woman to marry Mary. They had a grand wedding, went on a luxurious honeymoon abroad, built a mansion, and started their married life together. All of this, according to him, was to secure his position as company president. Mary seemed happy with her life alongside Tom, who granted her every wish and let her enjoy all the luxuries life had to offer. I'm pretty sure she wouldn't want a life like mine, where I work behind the scenes with my mom and my dad's company. "Lucy, you don't seem like the boss's daughter, do you?" she asked. "You don't act like the daughter of the company's president." Mary would often chuckle and give me funny looks when we saw each other at family events. "I'm not into living extravagantly," I replied. She stared at me as if I were something odd. "I feel bad for you. You're the daughter of a company president, but you don't know how to enjoy money. You live with your parents and have lots of money, so you don't have to work as hard. Plus, with your status as the president's daughter, shouldn't guys be chasing after you?" My brother nodded. "Yeah, that's right. Lucy's always been so humble. No one would guess her dad's the president, and she treats the other employees like regular people. I'm still learning a lot about my job, and there's plenty I don't understand yet. Many of my coworkers are better at their jobs than I am, so I can't act like I'm in charge," I argued. But my brother looked surprised and said, "That's why you're not very useful. A boss should be confident so they're not disrespected by their employees. Let others handle the simple tasks. It seems like Dad and I are the only real bosses here. Don't underestimate your employees, no matter how powerful you are." Dad taught me that. I tried to interject, but my brother interrupted me, looking annoyed. "Men don't like women who think too logically." Mary chimed in after my brother, "If you keep talking like that, you'll never find a husband. You should try to be more appealing, don't you think, Tom?" "Yeah, well, when I become president. I might fire someone as humble as you," Tom said, and then he and Mary left quickly. My mom, who had stayed quiet during the whole thing, comforted me after they left. She said, "You're doing great work for the company, helping me and your dad a lot. Don't worry about what Tom says." My dad nodded with a serious look on his face. Before this, my parents had told my brother to his face that they didn't like his ideas. After that, my brother and Mary got upset and didn't come to our house for over a month. I remembered how sad it felt back then, so I told my parents, Tom and Mary can say whatever they want. After that, Tom and Mary kept living their fancy lives, eating at expensive restaurants and going on luxurious vacations. They wanted to show everyone that Tom would be the president of my dad's company someday. Meanwhile, my dad was working hard to grow his business. But one night at home, he complained of chest pain. "Dad, are you okay?" "I'll call an ambulance," I said. "Lucy, get this." My dad pointed to a drawer and told me he had a letter for me. I grabbed the letter quickly. "If anything happens to me, read this. Everything else is for the lawyers to handle," he said before passing out before the ambulance arrived. Even though he was taken to the emergency room, he died without waking up. My brother and Mary were on a trip and couldn't be there when my dad passed away. They came back 2 days later. At my dad's funeral, Tom said, "We're just glad we made it back in time." I never thought my dad would die while we were on vacation. I was shocked. My brother and Mary showed up at the funeral as if nothing had happened, not acknowledging that my mom and I were left to handle everything. I asked my brother privately, away from the employees, "Couldn't you have come back home earlier?" "What? I couldn't change our return flight," my brother replied without saying sorry, then turned to address the employees. "Thank you all for your help. From now on, I'll take my father's place with honor," Tom said. Mary looked around at the employees, who had gone quiet, and praised. That's exactly what Tom would do. Everyone's speechless because they're so impressed, right? It's expected, considering my dignity. With pride, my brother said to me, "Lucy, isn't the ceremony starting soon? Lead us there quickly." I was annoyed by his tardiness and arrogance, but I guided him and the employees to the meal ceremony table. Throughout the meal, my brother continued to act arrogantly. "Isn't the food quality questionable, Lucy? It's not befitting of our father's status as president. Mom and I already discussed it, and we agreed on the food. Plus, I don't mean you telling me what to do. This is why people don't understand what being president means," Tom said, giving orders not just to me but also to the other employees serving. "You're useless," he added. I hurried to intervene when he ordered Bob, a longtime employee, around. "Tom, that's too much. Don't disrespect Bob. He's not just anybody. Why should I act humble in front of a mere employee? They should respect me as the president," he argued. Mary joined in, backing Tom up. "Exactly, Lucy. Don't talk down to Tom, the company's president. If you keep disobeying him, he'll fire you. He's got the power," she warned. As my brother and his wife continued to speak loudly, a man suddenly appeared. "I apologize for interrupting. Your father asked me to handle his inheritance," he said. He was the lawyer our father had hired while he was still alive. Then I remembered my father mentioning the lawyer shortly before he passed away. It seemed like he had prepared for his death by speaking with a lawyer years before he got sick. My brother and Mary got excited when the lawyer mentioned inheritance. They welcomed him into their room eagerly. Tom said, "Thanks for coming. Let's finish this quickly." But as he talked to the lawyer, Tom started crying. Didn't Dad's inheritance amount to $300 million? When Mary heard this, she was thrilled. $300 million? That's a huge amount for a company that's ours. When the employees overheard this, they started whispering. Mary proudly announced to the morning staff, "Quiet. This is the moment when the company and its $300 million inheritance go to Tom." Hearing this, one of the employees burst out laughing. My brother had the will in his hands, reading it with Mary beside him, who was curious about why the employees were laughing. But as he read on, his face turned pale. "Mary, the will says that the entire company goes to the eldest daughter, Lucy," he said, staring at the document in disbelief. Then he started yelling, "This can't be right. This is wrong." The lawyer, sounding troubled, said, "This is a legally valid will." My brother's voice grew more choked up. "What? I don't care. How can Lucy be president instead of me?" Maybe Dad was just getting old and confused. "Yes, yes. Your father's judgment was impaired. A will made by a confused old man is invalid," he argued. I couldn't bear to hear them insult my father any longer. "Enough. Tom, the idea of you becoming president is even more unbelievable," I shot back. My brother was furious. Are you saying I'm not capable of being president? He retorted. I didn't hesitate to respond. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. How can you lead this company when you've never put in any effort to help it? Don't be ridiculous. Mary and I even built a mansion fit for a president, and I've worked hard to look the part. He defended himself. Do you mean building a mansion unsuitable for a man of your stature or dining at fancy restaurants? That's not good for business. It's just money, after all. Didn't Dad cover most of the costs for the new house and extravagance? I countered. How do you know all this? He asked. Just before he passed away, Dad left me a letter. In it, he detailed all the money he had spent on you and said it was meant as a gift during his lifetime. So, your share of the estate is practically nothing, I revealed. Mary panicked upon hearing this. Wait, is this inheritance worth $300 million? Did we already spend that much? It's not fair that we got so little, she exclaimed. One of the employees who had been laughing approached Mary and clarified that the $300 million came from the company, not from personal assets. I think all the employees here are aware of that. Money from the company isn't something that can be inherited, I informed Mary. You're right. The money from the company isn't a family inheritance, so I guess my brother's share is minimal. That's heartbreaking, Mary replied. Oh no, I gasped, stunned. The inheritance, $300 million. My brother suddenly stood up, as if realizing something, and shouted at the employees, Do you really want your company president to be someone ordinary like Lucy? You should see that I'm more qualified for the job. I have the same charm as my father. But none of his coworkers agreed with him. Bob then stepped forward and began talking to my brother. Your father, the company's founder, was a charismatic man. But you and he are different people. What you have is arrogance, not charisma. Bob explained calmly. My brother became furious when Bob calmly contradicted him. Tom, you might be an employee of our company, but us, the employees, hardly ever see you at work. That's because I don't have time for company work. I was too busy networking with others. I couldn't waste time on tasks anyone could do, Tom argued. Are you calling going on trips and having fun at night networking? Is that all you have to say? Bob pressed on. Lucy worked hard every day, learning more about the company while quietly handling behind-the-scenes tasks. I see the same dedication in her as I did in your father. Lucy is the right person for the job, as far as all of us here at the company are concerned, Bob concluded. The other employees nodded in agreement, showing their support. Moved by their endorsement, I replied, Thank you all very much. I must admit, I'm taken aback by this sudden news, but having seen my father's passion for the company firsthand, I share the same dedication as all of you. I appreciate your ongoing support. The employees warmly applauded as I bowed deeply. Feeling encouraged by the applause, I continued, Every one of you here is a valuable friend who has contributed to our business. Anyone who disregards that isn't fit to be an employee, let alone the president of the company. And remember, the president has the power to dismiss employees. My brother grew visibly annoyed upon hearing this. What are you talking about? I'm your brother, he exclaimed. But you said yourself that if you became president, you'd fire me, brother, I reminded him. I can't keep paying a salary to an incompetent employee just because he's family. This is ridiculous. Can someone please say something? Tom pleaded for help from those around him, but the employees just gave him cold stares. With no one supporting him, my brother and Mary left. Afterwards, Tom lost his job and relied on the small inheritance he received, but it didn't last long. Can you lend me some money, Lucy? He begged. I was disgusted by my brother's lack of effort to find a new job even after being fired, still expecting our family to support him. I firmly told my mother not to give him any money. His friends, who had once been supportive, abandoned him when they found out he lost his position as president to his sister. When Mary married my brother, she had dreams of being the wife of the company president, but none of her friends seemed to sympathize with her. As their financial situation became dire, my brother and his wife made the tough decision to sell their mansion. While the proceeds from the sale could have sustained them and restored their lavish lifestyle, their lack of income caused their savings to dwindle rapidly. When they eventually realized they needed to find work, they struggled to secure employment because they had never held jobs before. Tom eventually found a part-time job at a convenience store, where he struggles as it's unfamiliar to him. He faces criticism from younger part-time employees for his inadequate work. Mary also had to give up her role as a full-time housewife and now works as a cashier at a supermarket for a low monthly salary alongside the part-time housewives she used to mock. Meanwhile, I'm utilizing my experience from behind-the-scenes work to contribute to the company's growth. With the support of Bob and other employees, the company is steadily improving. Interestingly, my brother's situation has strengthened employee unity. I've made a promise to continue working with my mother to grow the business, aiming to bring more pride to my Father in heaven.